Previously on Meerkat Manor, Flower's second litter of the year left the safety of the burrow and stepped into the glare of the Kalahari spotlight for the very first time. And the group had a lucky escape when they came face to face with the most venomous snake on the manor, a deadly Cape cobra. Meet the residents of Meerkat Manor, a 40-strong family of wild meerkats known as the Whiskers. They've made their home on the edge of the Kalahari Desert in South Africa's Northern Cape. Head of this extended family is Flower. She wears a radio collar so that Cambridge University researchers can track the gang's movements and study their intricate way of life. With our cameras capturing the group's every move, we're discovering just how challenging life in the Kalahari can be. At just 30 centimeters tall, these pint-sized predators rely entirely on teamwork for their survival. With lots of eyes to look out for danger and plenty of helpers to raise the kids, the Whiskers are going from strength to strength. It's mid-afternoon, and at the babysitting burrow, Userion has been left looking after Flower's pups, alone. Given his disastrous track record, he's probably not the best choice of babysitter. The last time Userion was left in charge, he instigated a burrow move which resulted in the death of one of Mozart's pups. Below ground, Flower's second litter of the year are relaxing in the shade. Although they've taken their first steps above ground, it'll be at least another week before they're big enough to leave the burrow and go foraging with the adults. With the pups safely tucked away and Userion looking out for danger, everything seems to be in order, for the time being at least. With vultures soaring on the afternoon thermals and temperatures reaching 40 degrees Celsius, the Whiskers take a well-earned break from foraging and head for the watering hole. But when the group arrive, they find they're not the only ones who fancied a tipple. A family of eland have already taken the prime spot at the bar. With the country club looking a little overcrowded, the Whiskers will just have to wait their turn. After all, when you weigh less than a kilo, it would be foolhardy not to make way for the biggest antelope in Africa. The teenagers soon tire of waiting and start play fighting to pass the time. And it's not long before the rest of the group join in. Play fighting is one way to brush up on your combat skills, but more than anything, it's a lot of fun. As the last eland slowly saunters off, the Whiskers' wait is finally over. The group spot an opening and head straight for the bar. Although meerkats can get all the moisture they need from their food, on such a hot summer's day, a cooling drink is a welcome relief. While some of the group quench their thirst, others keep watch. This valuable source of water marks the border between the Whiskers and Lazuli territories, so the Whiskers can't afford to be too relaxed. But with no sign of their neighbors, it looks like they have the place all to themselves. Meanwhile, back at the burrow, the pups have the place all to themselves too. Babysitter Userion is nowhere to be seen. True to form, he's abandoned his post. Below ground, all alone without an adult to protect them, the pups are a sitting target. Userion's disappearing act could cost the group dearly. Completely oblivious to the danger facing Flower's pups, the group are making the most of their liquid lunch. Achilles hasn't visited the watering hole before. He clearly needs to learn how to handle his drink. Bedraggled and with his spirits dampened, he decides to leave it to the experts. The others take it as a cue to drink up and get back to the important business of searching for food. Half a kilometre from the watering hole, rogue babysitter Userion has reappeared. Having abandoned Flower's pups, he's inadvertently found his way to the Lazuli main burrow. If there are lady cats babysitting, this could be an ideal opportunity to mate. And it looks like he may be in luck. One of the adults on duty today is an old flame. It's Pancake. Having been tossed out of the family by dominant female Kazana, Pancake has made her way back into the group, and she's had pups of her own. It seems her illicit encounter with Userion 3 months ago was a fruitful affair. With the Lazuli down on their numbers, the 2 new offspring have been welcomed into the group. Userion, however, is far from welcome at the babysitting burrow. As he creeps closer, he discovers Pancake and the pups are not alone. Although he has no intention of harming the pups, the male babysitters don't want him on their patch. With Pancake clearly out of reach, Userion can forget about dessert and get back to foraging for his main course. Not far from the watering hole, the Whiskers foraging party have made a disturbing discovery. They've found a fresh latrine from another group. This scent-laden calling card means a rival gang have recently patrolled this area and marked it as their own. With the Whiskers babysitting burrow close by, it's a worrying sign. Frantically, the Whiskers dig up the latrine to remove the intruder's scent and replace it with their own. But while the Whiskers are occupied, the owners of the latrine have returned en masse. It's the Lazuli. Seeing their rivals, the Whiskers defiantly stand their ground. And the Lazuli gather their troops. With both groups on the edge of their territory, neither gang is willing to back down. There's only one way to resolve this standoff. The Whiskers make the first move and war dance towards the Lazuli. The Lazuli respond to the challenge with a charge of their own. No strangers to conflict, these seasoned rivals are once again on a collision course. Outnumbering the opposition, the Whiskers quickly gain the upper hand and force the Lazuli into a retreat. As the Lazuli flee the battleground, the Whiskers set about marking this piece of land as their own. This is a significant victory for the Whiskers. They've increased their territory and secured the watering hole. But with such a prime foraging patch at stake, and both groups babysitting close to enemy lines, this may not be the last they see of the Lazuli. With the weather taking an unexpected turn for the worse, the Whiskers leave the spoils of war for another day and head back towards the burrow. But as the group make their way home, a massive storm is closing in. Although Flower is desperate to get back to her pups, with the heavens about to burst, she'll have to take shelter with the rest of the group in a nearby bolt hole. If the storm holds out, it'll not only mean an end to the day's foraging, but the group could be stranded here for the night. While at the Whiskers' main burrow, abandoned by Userion, Flower's pups are frightened and hungry. With no one to comfort them, they'll have to brave the terrifying storm alone. Two hours later, and the storm finally relents. This fortunate break in the weather is the Whiskers' cue to head for home. With the possibility of another downpour, they can't afford to hang about. But while the group make their way home, one member of the Whiskers family is laying low. After being chased off by the Lazuli babysitters, Userion was caught out in the storm. Cold and wet, he's finally got his just desserts. Far from cozying up with Pancake, he'll be spending the night alone in an isolated bolt hole. When the group eventually reach the burrow, there's no sign of life above ground. With babysitter Userion nowhere to be seen, some of the gang anxiously head below to look for the pups. In the deepest part of the burrow, the group eventually find the terrified pups. No thanks to Userion, they've survived the afternoon and the storm alone. Exhausted after their eventful day, the rest of the Whiskers gather at the burrow and watch the storm roll off into the distance. But as they settle down for the night, there's an uneasy feeling amongst the group. With their arch rivals, the Lazuli, on their doorstep, and Flower's pup still too young to be moved, the Whiskers will have to watch their backs. It's early morning, and the Whiskers are already up and about. After yesterday's stormy events, the group are keen to make an early start. With her pups fed and everyone warmed through, Flower's lead calls let the rest of the group know it's time to make a move. But not everyone will be following the boss today. Ever-dependable Mozart will be staying behind to look after Flower's pups. Less than a kilometre from the Whiskers burrow, Userion is also up and on the move. Having been caught out in yesterday's storm, he's spent the night in Lazuli territory. Although he should be heading home, he doesn't seem to be in any hurry. Instead, he's making his way back towards the Lazuli burrow. And he's not the only one. Flower is leading the Whiskers into the heart of Lazuli territory. It's become clear, this is not a foraging trip. Having yesterday discovered the Lazuli dangerously close to her babysitting burrow, Flower has been forced to act. With her precious pups too young to be moved, the Whiskers must strike first. Not far from their border, they find the Lazuli burrow guarded by Penny. Below ground, Pancake is with her pups. Having come this far, there's no going back. Completely outnumbered, Penny makes a break for it, leaving Pancake and the pups to face the Whiskers alone. Penny can only watch as they swarm the entrance. With no time to lose, the front line head below ground. In this battle, the Whiskers won't be taking any prisoners. The rest of the group mark the burrow area to erase any trace of the Lazuli's scent. In a desperate attempt to help, Penny tries to creep back to the burrow. There's little she can do other than act as a decoy. But Penny isn't the only one who's been creeping towards the action. Userion has returned to the Lazuli burrow in search of females. As he looks on, he has no idea that the group attacking the Lazuli burrow is the Whiskers, and that below ground, Pancake is fighting to save his pups. Suddenly, a group of the Whiskers catch sight of Userion and break off to give chase. Relying more on scent than sight to identify each other, from a distance, this stranger could be an enemy male. Undeterred by the stranger, Flower and the remaining Whiskers continue their raid on the burrow. But as they work on widening the entrance, they are unaware of the Lazuli returning. Heavily outnumbered, Flower and the remaining Whiskers are no match for the entire Lazuli army. With most of the group seeing off Userion, his arrival may have tipped the balance in the enemy's favor. As the Lazuli close in, the Whiskers could be facing a fight for their lives. Next time on Meerkat Manor, the pups have an eventful first foraging trip, and things go from bad to worse for Flower's little gang when the Whiskers are forced to move home.